Hey guys, it's Alex here from Homey. Today, we're going to explore Homey Energy. Now, Homey Energy is a feature that we launched last year, but I feel like a few of us might be able to benefit from a closer look at it and an in-depth little tutorial on how to set things up for your specific situation. And Homey Energy is really meant to gain some insight into your home's energy usage and also eventually to save some money. So let's dive into it. So once you're in the Homey app, the way to get to energy is just to tap on it. And here, you'll see a complete overview of your home's energy usage. And you'll see it represented in this radial graph up here. And each bar represents a different zone or device. So in this case, the largest bar in my home, currently consuming energy, is the ground floor. It's consuming 205 watts. Now if I tap on the next largest bar, I'll see that that's the first floor. And that's consuming 104. Now this way you can navigate through the different zones of your home and see what's going on. How much electricity are they consuming? Now the total graphical representation, so the full circle, is equal to the number down here, which is 470 watts. Now the way this is calculated, in my case, is a little bit more complicated because I've got solar panels and a smart meter. But for most homes, you're gonna have a buildup of your energy consumption. So if you have devices connected to Homey and they're metering some power, then you'll see this shown in your energy overview. Now what happens if you add a smart meter? So if your house has a smart meter or the potential for a smart meter, you can connect one of those up to Homey, and this will then represent your total energy consumption for your home. So in my case, that's 345 watts. Now I've also added solar panels. So solar panels currently are generating 125 watts. And you can see the solar panels on the outer ring of this overview. They're on a separate part because they're actually bringing energy into your home. And then the total that's represented by 470 watts is actually these two added together. So 125 plus 345, some simple maths here, equals 470. So this is a real quick overview of your home. Now we can dive a little bit further into what devices are exactly using what amount of electricity. So if I tap on the bar for my ground floor, the largest power consumption in my home, I can actually tap on the center here. That brings me to a more detailed overview. And here I can see that the ground floor is made up of two zones. I've got my kitchen and living room. Each is using a different amount of power. So I can tap up there. The smaller one is kitchen and the larger one is the living room. Now, if I want to see exactly what's being used in my living room, I can tap on that. And this then shows me all of the different devices in my living room. So I can see that the main power consumer in my living room is my Samsung TV. And that's currently using 120 watts, right? And then clicking on these little bars, I can see those different devices that make up that zone. So I've got inner lights set up, Philips Hue lights, warmth lights, all the different devices that you've connected to Homey, and perhaps you've added a certain power consumption level, or that's added automatically by adding the device. For instance, a smart plug often has power metering, in which case it will in real time be measuring that power in that zone for the device you have connected up to that smart plug. Let me give you a quick real life example. So I'm gonna head into my film studio. Let's head back to my full home overview. And I can also go into Film Studio by just selecting it here from the overview. Now in this zone, I've got a couple of lamps set up, one of which is my studio desk lamp. So let's head into that. If I tap on my studio desk lamp, this will work for any device that you're looking at in Homey Energy. You'll see an overview of the last 6 hours of usage, which I can scroll through. So I can see, for instance, that I turned this lamp on at around about 9 o'clock this morning when I came to the office. And it's been on during the day, and at a few points, I've dimmed it down and then brightened it back up. And you'll see those as dips in energy consumption, because when the light's at a lower dim level, it's actually using less energy. I can show you this in real time as well by heading to the studio desk lamp here. Brings me to my device control panel. And here, if I dim the light down to about halfway, you'll see that the lamp dims, obviously, And you'll see that it also updates here on the screen. So now it's got a power consumption level of 4.24 instead of 6.5 because it's at a lower dim level. Now, with these lamps, it's often the case that they're not actually accurately measuring the power consumption. So there's no power measuring part of the smart lamp that's actually doing the work and seeing, hey, how much energy am I using? What will happen is that manufacturers often tell you, hey, what's the power consumption when this device is on standby or off? And what is the power consumption when it's on? Now, in the app, we've tried to show this by showing you an off value and an on value. And what we do is approximate the consumption level in between those two if you've got it dimmed down like I do. Now, if we go up into the settings for this device in the top right here, I can actually edit or change the power usage levels. So I did a little bit of research earlier on Google to see what exactly the manufacturer tells me is the consumption level for this lamp. And they say that it's actually from 1 watt in standby to 10 watts when it's on. So I can edit this right here. I can tell Homey that this device actually uses 1 watt when it's off, and when it's on, I can say it uses 10. And I'll hit save. Now, if I go into the device and set this up to full brightness again, head back, then you'll see this also updates in real time. So I see that the current power consumption is 10 watts. Now, often when you connect a smart lamp, this is done automatically. So the information for the power consumption when the light's off and when it's on is included in the lamp when you're adding it to Homey. In some cases, it might not be. Now, if I head back, you'll see that, for instance, my smart bulb here has a dash next to it. That means that Homey doesn't know what the power consumption levels are. Now, if you quickly research these things for certain devices, that information is readily available. So for instance, for this smart bulb, it's a generic smart bulb, but I know that for this one, it has a power consumption between 0.5 when off and 8.5 when on. So all I need to do is go into the settings up here and add that information. Power usage when off, 0.5. And power usage when on is 8.5. If I tap on save, you'll see then that it updates the status for off and on. Now from this point forward, Homey will start collecting data for that device, since now it knows that when it's off, it's at 0.5 watts, and when it's on at full brightness, it's 8.5. And anywhere between that, it approximates the energy usage. So this is the start of adding device-specific data for energy consumption to Homey and having this collected in Homey Energy. And by breaking this down on a device, zone, and then home level, you can start making better decisions for your home's energy usage. In my film studio, I've also got a wall plug here. And that wall plug is currently measuring 0 watts. And I've got it here under the desk. Let me just grab it. Now in this case, I want to show you what a wall plug like this can do when it's metering energy. So it knows how much energy is being used with a certain device you've got plugged into it. In this case, I've got a, let's call it dumb, light plugged in. Now immediately, if I turn this on, the light comes on, and you'll see in the app that the wall plug is now measuring 2.4 watts. And that's the energy that's going through it. So if I tap on this, I can get some more details on it. And from here, you can also turn that device on and off. So if I tap on off, the light turns off, and tap back on, it turns on. And you'll see in real time that the energy is being updated. Now you can imagine that this is quite useful for devices that are not connected to Homey. So let's say you just have a standard fridge set up in your kitchen. What you can do is add a smart plug between the fridge and the wall plug and have this actually meter the energy consumption of your fridge at all times. It's a really handy way of understanding how much electricity is being used in your home. And here you can quickly see, that insight into your home's energy usage. Now this is relatively built up. I have solar panels, a smart meter, I have different devices in different zones, and everyone's smart home might be a little bit different. But I want to highlight the importance of sometimes adding a smart meter to the mix. So what you can do by adding a smart meter is really create a complete picture. If you don't have this added, then you'll see the smart devices in your home, but you'll be missing out on the not so smart devices. So for instance, an electric stove or oven, or your kettle, a microwave, things like that are often not, smart or connected to Homey. And in that case, they won't be included in Homey Energy. Now, if you add a smart meter, it shows you a complete overview of your home's usage. And I can show you this by jumping into the other area. So you'll see here that other is 130 watts. Now, what is that other? Now, other is actually the difference between what my smart meter is measuring and what Homey knows it's consuming in smart devices. So this is pretty much a collection of all your not so smart devices. But it's useful to see this and to understand what exactly is consuming electricity. This gives you also a better way of making judgments based on your home's energy usage. Now, I know that a lot of people might not yet have a smart meter in their home, but if you do, or you've been recently upgraded to a smart meter, there are often opportunities to connect these smart meters to Homey. And by doing this, you actually create a richer overview in Homey Energy. So you can make better decisions on how you're using your devices and how that electricity consumption is going on in your home. And as a part of that, if you're using solar panels, make sure you connect those to Homey as well. That way, you really build up the best overview for your home's energy usage in Homey. Now, I want to highlight one last thing. If we head up to the top right here, you'll see a little battery icon. Now, this can be super handy for people that have a lot of battery-powered smart devices. Just tap on that icon, and you'll get an overview of all of the battery-powered smart devices you've got connected to Homey. So for instance, my contact sensor has 45% battery remaining. My Dana lock has 88%, and I've got a remote control here that doesn't send its battery status. But what's really useful about this is it also shows me the type of battery that those devices use. So I can see that this contact sensor requires an LS14250 type of battery. Now that's a lot easier to use than going in, taking that contact sensor apart, looking at the battery and trying to figure out what the size of battery is and then finding a replacement for it. So if you're in doubt for what type of battery a certain device uses, you can always head to this overview. And then it also shows you what the battery percentage is. So you can imagine that when these reach 20% or so, I might start looking at replacing those batteries, just to make sure that they don't suddenly run out. Now, we've taken an in-depth look into Homey Energy. I've shown you how to navigate through the different overviews, right down to device level, and seeing exactly how much energy is being consumed by each device in your home. We've also gone in and we've edited, for instance, the off or on status for a smart light. So you can do this for each of your smart devices in your home. If that information is not already with Homey, you can start adding it in Homey Energy. And that way you create a profile for your home and your home's energy usage. Now, it's really powerful when you combine this with insights. And insights is a large enough topic for another video, but you can go into this and have a record of your home's energy usage for the last 2 years. So we store all of that information and then we show it to you in a great graphical representation so that you can easily make decisions based on that. And we hope by doing this, that for your smart home, you become a little bit more energy aware and that you can start really reducing a little bit of energy usage and saving some money where it matters.